What's up, everybody? Back again. Packers had an awesome weekend. Family night was great. This week they have pretty much a full week of practice. Today is a walkthrough. Kind of interesting to see some of the stuff they do, but it's pretty simplified. Some injuries. Eason Gaines was out today. Randall Cobb had some vet rest. Patrick Taylor's still out, and Casey Nixon was out today as well. Um, it's obviously Savage. I think was able to just do the walkthrough. I don't know if he would have been in if they had like a real practice, but the rest of the week will be telling to see if how worried the Packers are about that hamstring. I do kind of worry just because those are lingering issues and injuries that can plague a receiver a player for a whole year, not just a receiver, safety as well, corner, anybody who Matthews had that issue with his hamstring for so long. A lot of guys that are really pushing off and trying to get quick acceleration have that issue. So hopefully Savage will be okay. But otherwise, walkthroughs went good today. Nothing really notable. I'm excited for the Packers getting ready for next week when they play on Friday. They play Friday night against the San Fransico 49ers. That'll be exciting. It's just, the 49ers beat us last year, and it's always good to just win no matter what. There's a lot of players that I want to see. Obviously, I want to see how Love does, and there's guys that are injured. So there's for the update for the injury report for the weekend or for the game on Friday. There's obviously Tanyan's out still, Bakhtiari's out still, Jenkins is out still with the ACL, Kylan's out with the ACL. Crosby and Christian Watson were in walkthroughs today though, and they were rehabbing for the first time. So that's a really good sign. I'm super excited to see Watson kind of get out there. Obviously, Crosby is trying to make the team for, seems like forever now. And the kicker during Brickchick or whatever his name is, Brickchick, he kicked well at first, and then he started missing. He missed some, and, it's Crosby's job to lose. I don't think he will. But it's good to see him get out there. It'll be nice to see him kick a little bit. And, that whole position battle is not really a battle. But with Watson, it's really good to see him back. If he can get, at least back to practicing before the first preseason game here, that could be cool. Or if he's still rehabbing into next week. I just want to see him in at least one preseason game. I know he won't make this one. The next one would probably be unlikely if he's just rehabbing now. But that third and final one would be the one where I'd like to see him try to get into. That should be his goal, hopefully. After that last one, I think that's August 25th. Yeah, I got the schedule here, so okay. Forgot I put it up now, so I do have it up. Now I won't forget ever. But so they have San Fran Friday, and then they have New Orleans on the 19th, and then which is a Thursday, and then the Thursday the 25th they have at Kansas City. So that's the one that I hope that he shoots for. Obviously, the season doesn't start until September 11th, and that's a good amount of time between the 25th and the 11th to kind of work out any kinks and rehab a little bit if he needs more of that. But it'd still be nice to see if he can get out there for that. Obviously, the other rookie receivers have really stepped up so far. We saw it at family night. We've seen it through training camp. Obviously, Romeo Doubs and Samari Torre. I've heard Torre. I'm gonna look it up and see exactly how you pronounce it. I want to hear him pronounce it. So that's kind of how you tell exactly how to pronounce the names. You hear so many different things. So I think during the draft I heard Samari Torre, which is why I went with that. And so I'll have to look into that more. But anyway, so we know who we're talking about. He's really starting to come on, and people are excited about him. So it's just having those two guys step up so quick already. Obviously, Dobbs has been the sensation. Everybody's talking about him around the league. Everybody missed. They didn't draft him. He went in the 4th round, so every team had an option to pick him, and they did not. So yeah, so Christian Watson getting in there, it's going to be huge, but it gives them a little time to rehab. It gives them time to get ready. It's not so much pressure to come back as quickly and get and re-injure that injury he has. So that'll be nice for him, but still, I want to see him back on the field. It's just so important that he gets back out there. I really like his measurables. He's, like I said, he's 6'5", 6'4.5", with 4.3 speed, jumping ability. He runs good routes. He came out of North Dakota State, which is a smaller school, and they don't play against the best competition and all that. But usually that team wins, and they're usually win the championship or whatever. And they had Trey Lance, so for a year, I think 2 years ago. So that's huge. It shows that they do have players. Carson Wentz came out of there as well. And so I think he'll be ready to go. I don't think that's going to be an issue. He's obviously just, a big kid and a big fast kid, and he's going to I think he's got the ability to come on and step up real quick. Even if he's just the guy that kind of, you run those deep routes to, like they did with MVS, just the go routes. I think that's going to be kind of his niche early on. I don't know if it's going to be a lot of like slants like they'll be using Dobbs with. He's not as big, like physical as Dobbs. He's a little taller and lankier than Dobbs, so he will be more of a deep threat type of guy anyway. But I think that's what they could, it doesn't take much to just say go deep. I'll throw you the ball. Yeah, I think he's a guy that can really make plays early on if he can get back on the field. So something to watch. Obviously, other little injuries. It says questionable on this updated San Francisco weekend roster. They have Cole Schneider at center injured for the Packers. Malik Taylor, who I have heard about, he's out. Still, it's tough for him because he's already on the bubble, and it's gonna be tough for him to even get many looks if he's injured, obviously. And there's just a lot of young guys, and then the veterans, and even if Winfrey's ahead of him still, and he's not gonna make the team. So it's tough to see him out there or on here again. Patrick Taylor, like I said, Randy Ramsey, they have on here, which I thought he was back, so maybe it's just kind of a lingering thing that they have updated here. And then Osiris Mitchell, who I had heard was out a little bit, but who seems like he's okay. That Ishmael Hyman guy, the young USFL receiver, made some plays, at family night, and that was interesting. Just I think he's number 5 or so. I think that's what I saw. I know Danny Davis is number 20, which is pretty cool because there's a few guys that have been really good that don't get a lot of mentions. And Danny Davis is one of them. Every time he's asked to do something, he has done it. It's tough because he's so far down on the depth chart. He's probably the 10th receiver on the depth chart, and so it's highly unlikely. But he's a guy that might be able to get tucked away on the practice squad and hold him over for the future. So he's the guy that I just, because he's from Wisconsin, I like to see that, and I want to see how it progresses with him. So even if he doesn't make the Packers or get to stick around on the Packers, that means another team came and swiped him, and so hopefully he gets a good chance with them, and that's awesome for him. That the USFL brought us, like I said, Osiris Mitchell, Ishmael Hyman, and now in Sal Cannella, the tight end, the big physical tight end that has the most receiving yards in a USFL game, which is kind of a cool stat. Even though it's been only 1 year, it's still him. So kind of awesome, but he's been doing well. Caleb Jones, 6'9", 370 pounds. I saw something funny where it was like they added 2 weights of a receiver a receiver and like a corner together or something, and it was still less weight than Caleb Jones, which he's a big guy, and I'd like to see him make the team. I don't think he'd stay on a practice squad. Somebody else would probably take a gamble on him just because of his size. But he's I saw that interview with them that first time they talked to him, and he said, "Yeah, I'm always the biggest guy in any room I go to." Well, he's the biggest Packer, I think, of Packers history. So that's kind of cool as well, So something interesting. Obviously, Jack Heflin's been around for a few years, but he's been doing well as well. I like seeing him. He's just always consistent, and I know we let go of Tyler Lancaster or this year, and I think he got picked up by somebody. I think the Raiders, if I had a guess, but I'm not sure on that one. But either way, he left, and so Heflin's the holdover and was kind of like just a little bit less productive than Lancaster, and Lancaster actually played okay, so a guy that to watch. And then I like the big Jonathan Ford. I liked him coming out of Miami. He's like 6'4", 330, just a huge man, and he's showed up. He's done some good things. It's hard to block him. It's hard to move him. He's just a big physical dude. So it's really impressive. Something to watch from him. These are all guys that probably won't make the team, but it's just cool to see. I liked seeing just how all these guys kind of get here and kind of the route they take, and the USFL are being a little bit older and all these things. So it's something to watch, because every year there's undrafted free agents that make the team, and you never know what the Packers are actually looking for compared to what we are looking at, because we'll look at okay, he did that good, but maybe the Packers want somebody that can do that good or something different good, and we're not really picking up on that, and that's why guys get capped, and they see maybe there's more room for him to grow than him to grow, and it's very interesting to see how the roster kind of shapes out. So it's part of the fun, and yeah, so guys like that are interesting to watch. I've been bringing up Rico Gafford a lot. He's he's a guy that was a receiver, kind of, not that didn't really play receiver, that they wanted to try to play receiver, but I think he was a corner in college and then went to receiver in the league because he was so fast. And then now they put him back to corner, but he's more of a special teams guy now with the Packers. And with his blazing speed, he could be a guy that, sticks around on this roster because of the special teams ability he has. I think that, some explosion on kick returns would be huge for the Packers. We haven't had explosive special teams plays in a long time, and it's kind of a bummer, because those are, game-changing plays, field-turning plays, really can help out the offense, and it's just big. So it'll be interesting to watch how that goes. Yeah, I just like that he's so versatile. He's playing kickoff, kick coverage, punt gunner, and then it says he's the outside rushers on field goal block team too. So, that's maybe we'll get a block with him in there. Haven't had those much in a few years. So interesting to see if he can be a guy that really starts to flip special teams for the Packers. Savage is out with that hamstring, and I watch Savage closely because I really like his talent. I like his speed. He seems like a ball hawk that doesn't catch the ball, so it's his own fault that he's not a ball hawk. But if you can start catching it, he'd be great. And I talk about that a lot. But I see so much in him, and the way he covers the field and reads the quarterback. I think he can really develop into a solid safety. I know Amos is just kind of that just every play he just does exactly what you need him to do type of guy. But Savage is kind of just all over the place, and with his speed, he can be so much more versatile. I know they were using him down in the nickel corner spot a little bit and kind of rotating those guys in and out with Douglas. And, Douglas will probably be that nickel corner for sure, but they had Jair playing some of that slot today. And walkthroughs because Savage was out. With Savage being out, they had Vernon Scott in with the ones. That's something to watch, because I thought Sean Davis maybe was a little bit ahead of Scott when it came to that number one safety spot. Maybe they want to just see Scott play that's number one safety before they give it to Davis. But today it was Vernon Scott in that spot, and he was here last year, and Davis kind of came in, I think, at some point in the season, either early last year or in the middle of the year. And so, that'll be a position battle now that Savage is kind of, he's sitting out with an injury, to really keep an eye on that third safety position, especially if Savage does have a lingering issue with that hamstring. I worry so much about those, and that safety position is going to be so important. The corners are so good, and those safeties are so good. So it's going to be interesting to see if Savage can stay on the field week 1 and if he's ready to go. I just worry so much about those. So so seeing Vernon Scott out there, let's hope that he can kind of take that next step and be a solid number 3 safety, because he's a guy that might get on the field here and there, and a guy that we're going to need to count on at some point in the year, whether it is him or Davis or even Tyree Carpenter, who I like. But I think he's kind of taken a while to develop here, and he might be more of a in the box type of safety, not so much a coverage safety. And so punt returns, I was talking about special teams just a second ago, but that's something I want to watch. I know they had Rico Gafford back there a little bit, but he might be more of the kick return guy. And then like other special teams areas, punt return is such a spot that's so crucial, because the defense just made a big stop. The offense is getting the ball back, and they can't afford to have any miffs or muffs on that. They can't fumble it. They can't give the ball back to the other team. They got to make sure they catch it for sure first, and then try to get as many yards as they can, and hopefully somebody can make a play. Amari Rodgers was back there last year. He got a chance today, but he wasn't explosive last year. But so far he's been doing a lot more vertical returns instead of these horizontal returns, which get you nowhere. Just get upfield, get as many yards as you can, and that is good enough. It's better than getting no yards or going backwards or fumbling. And then they also had Romeo Doubs back there, which I like as a rookie. Just get him the ball. He's a playmaker. He's young. You worry about injuries when it comes to special teams, especially with guys who are going to be participate on offense and be guys that you count on offense. So, I worry about having him back there just because he has come on so much as that receiver 1 or 2 or whatever, 3, But he's just a guy that we're going to count on a lot there. But his playmaking ability puts him in a position where you want him back there, and maybe they'll have Rodgers back there mostly, but if they really need a spark or something, they'll throw Romeo back there and they want to just make sure he can do it. It's just, stuff to watch, things to watch. So, walkthrough was great today. It's just good the Packers had such a nice family night. It was good for everybody, families, players, coaches, fans, of course. And then yesterday they had off, so they got a day of rest, and that's good, because once they get into these preseason games, it's going to be, pretty quick with every week they got a game, and then 2 weeks till the season starts. So it's coming up quick. What does that mean? Like 5 weeks now till the season starts? So that's really getting close. I'm just excited to watch how Love plays against the Niners. The Niners, so Garoppolo is not going to play. They told him they moved on. And Jimmy G is no longer a 49er, which means that now it's Trey Lance's job. And I don't know how much Trey's going to play that first preseason game, but it'll be interesting to watch. I think he's got a lot of physical talent. He's got a lot of talent when it comes to running the ball, just with his quickness and his running ability in general. And then in college, I think he had 28 touchdowns and 1 pick that season, 2 years ago, the one before the pandemic, because he only played 1 game that pandemic year and then got drafted and sat out all last year, basically, except for a few plays, and then he played, I think, 1 game or something. But the plays where he had, it was they really faked the run hard, like they were going to do a run, and then he kind of rolled out and just had a wide open, I think it was an 80-yard touchdown, his first pass play, which isn't going to be a realistic, version of the NFL for him. It's going to be a lot different being the starter, coming in day 1, having defenses pretty much game plan for you in general, knowing that you're a little bit inaccurate, knowing that you do have a big arm, but throwing it down the field probably isn't going to be their forte right away. It's going to be a lot of run plays, a lot of misdirection runs, a lot of, fake this way, go that way. Using Debo, they signed Debo to a big contract now. He got his money like he wanted, 3 years, $75 million extension. So he's back. Kittle will be back. I know Mitchell's in the backfield. They lost Raheem Mostert to the Miami, but 49ers, they have a lot of pieces, and that defense is still stout and ready to go. I know they have Eric Armstead on the defense injury list for the Niners. He is questionable. Khalil Davis is out. For a DT is out. He's injured. And then Jason Verrett, cornerback, is on the PUP list for the Niners. But otherwise, their injury list is pretty barren compared to the Packers, especially with all our guys on IR coming back from ACL tears and from last year. But this game will just be interesting. So I'll probably talk about it more during the week once we get going here. Practice will resume tomorrow. I think it's a padded practice. They'll have at least have a few this week. They'll probably have one more walkthrough, and then the rest will be normal practices. It's just, it's nice for the players to kind of have a day of rest, and especially for a guy like Savage, who's just kind of had a little injury scare kind of tweak. Like I said, he laughed when they asked him, about it. He said it's a fast person injury, so if he's laughing about it, it makes me feel better about the fact that he doesn't think it's serious, and they have time to watch it. They have time to make sure that he doesn't retweak it, doesn't injure it, and they want to see who's going to make it on those safety spots. So a lot to watch going into this Niners game. Jordan Love playing the Niners. That's going to be awesome. We'll probably see a little bit of Danny Etling, but I want to see just pretty much all Love. I don't care about Entling. It'll be nice. It's nice to see him play a little bit, but I just want to see Love. Just give him as much reps as you can. Just keep him fresh. Try to get him developed. I mean, if he can go into these 3 preseason games as the starter, kind of with the mentality that I want to win these games. This is kind of my showing out party. I think it'll be important for Love to kind of get that opportunity and just show what he can do. At least like all the first halves of the games. I know Rodgers will probably play maybe one just to get a little bit of reps in there. I know he doesn't like to, but after last year's blunder, I know there's a lot going on surrounding the Packers, but I think that it'll be worthwhile to have him play a little bit just to kind of get that, the kinks and the bugs out right away. So that first game against the Saints last year was just brutal, and we go to Minnesota game 1 this year, and I don't want to see them just stomp all over us like the Saints did last year. So hopefully they use these preseason games wisely. They're able to figure it out. Obviously, there's a lot of question marks on the offensive line, who we want to see be the starters and who's going to be kind of the guys that are next. Sean Ryan hasn't come on like I thought he would, but Zach Tom has, and I really thought he did, or he would do that. I just thought Ryan would be a little bit quicker. But this offensive line looks like it's shaping out to be pretty decent with or without Bakhtiari and Jenkins. I think Jenkins is kind of on a track to be back even sooner than Bakhtiari, but I think they're just being really cautious with Bakhtiari, and if he can get back by week 6 or so, I think that'll be good enough for the Packers for that playoff run and just late into the season. So it's a lot to watch. The defensive line, some of those. The biggest question, I think, on the team overall, besides the injury issues, is outside linebackers behind Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. Those are going to be things to watch, the positions to watch all 3 games of preseason and through the rest of training camp. There's a lot of guys that can make it, or be those guys. We have Randy Ramsey, we have Garvin, who's kind of been hot and cold, JJ and Agbar. I like Tipa a lot, and then Ladarius Hamilton's kind of showed up a little bit here, so there's some pieces behind Gary and Preston Smith, but it's just who are those guys going to be. Obviously, Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith can't play every single down, and we need guys that can come in and at least kind of help reach the quarterback. Hopefully there's a lot of push in the middle with Clark and Wyatt and Reed and Lowry. I think those guys will be a force up front, but coming off the edge is super important. That's why those guys get paid so much money when they become elite. And it'll be interesting to see who kind of becomes that number 3 rotational guy, number 4 guy who comes in when those guys need a rest. Tipa has really kind of come on, He's not really a guy that I had high up on that radar list. I like his speed and athleticism. He's just kind of a freak athlete. So it'll be interesting to see where he fits if he does make it. And yeah, I mean, I like JJ and Agbar and all those guys too. There's a few other guys that are rotating in and out, but yeah, we will see how it works out. It'll be a lot of position battles. Obviously, like I said, the safety battle behind Savage. Cornerback, kind of seeing who are going to be those 4th and 5th cornerbacks, maybe 6 because of guys. I think Casey on Nixon's going to make the team. He's hurt right now, but I really think he's going to make the team. And there's that Dallin Levitt guy that came from the Raiders as well that has been playing okay. So it'll be interesting. There's a lot of pieces, and 90 guys and only 53 make the team with some practice squad holdovers. So I am super excited. Every day we get closer to Packers football. Family night was a great kind of teaser, just giving us a little show. And Friday is going to be Packers football finally. We've had a long list of 49ers battles, and pretty much all of the since 2012, I think, with Kaepernick. So it's been quite the journey with them, and now they're on to their next quarterback. So we will see how that all goes, and yeah, it's just awesome time. So all right, guys, that's it. Peace out. See you in the next video.